Kind of work. We got Wilhelm. Look at that. All right. It is 8:47. I didn't touch it. So it's 8:47. We're back in session after significant technical difficulties. For those of you watching at home, there are none at the moment, but three. So 4. So anyway, where were we? Alderman Nelson.
So I guess
Hold on. Okay.
So I guess my point with the social media thing was clarified. Perhaps future discussion will be if we could somehow develop a city page in the future, not to be debated. I have no more anything on that. I just wanted, my goal was to, at some point, look to develop and implement an official city page, but that was all it was for.
Alderman Wilhelm.
I think we should move forward with the creating a city page. We have, I don't know, there's quite a few groups out here, so why don't we just combine them all and have everybody, I'm not saying police and fire department, they probably want their own and that makes sense, but I believe DPW has a Facebook page, CDA has one, health department, and that's 3, there has to be at least 3 people running those pages. So if we put together one city page, it can be posted on there. And that solves this social media problem is one of our biggest issues. We don't have to have people posting other places. So I'm going to make the motion that we create a city Facebook page and have the departments that have separate ones become of the page as whichever ones you want.
Is there a second to that? We're going to do Eichmann, then Hanneman.
I had questions on it, but I'm not opposed, so having, just for clarification, this is in favor of having a Facebook page? Or just for the discussion, or I need more clarification, please. I had my light on. I had thought maybe the technical difficulties of just some thoughts, concerns, questions that I wanted to bring up. While I think that a city social media page would be great. However, just some thoughts and concerns, who's going to be the administrator and the moderator on it. We do just things that we'd have to discuss, of course, clarity. I do strongly feel, I will say for the record, that I believe that the comments should be turned off on it. There's no, just to monitor all of that, that's a full-time ×3 job, in my opinion. I think it's great for events, especially because we're going down to the 4 newsletters. It's to get things out there. Perfect example in the past, I'm just going to throw one example out there, the Midnight Piper, that would have been perfect, that somebody can put that event up on there, for purposes like that. I've had a lot of constituents ask me to post on my Alderwoman page different events and so forth in the city. They don't want to go through non-city social media pages and go through 50 comments that aren't related to find out when music is going to be playing at Lions Legend Park. So with discussion and coming up with some guidelines and so forth, I think that it's definitely a fair ask to have a city social media page.
Thank you. And I agree, an ultimate goal would be to have a more unified social media communication page. Putting it here within our code of conduct and ethics, I don't know that this is actually the place to make that particular piece of legislation. I would ask deference from my colleagues here. I am working on a request as we go into budget season and putting together something a little bit more comprehensive as possibly a part-time communications manager that could start, or even an intern that could begin to help us put together a more cohesive communications policy and a roadmap to how to get to that place where we have who's going to manage it, what type of policies are going to be around our unified social media presence. Is that something that is to be partnered in conjunction with Tourism Commission in terms of, I don't want to put too much out there because it's a little bit far afield from this particular agenda item. So I would just caution making the legislative edict that yes, we're going to have one Facebook page right now when we don't have a plan on how to put it together. And that's something that I'm hopeful to work on.
Madam Director of Administration, and then Alderman Wilhelm, and then I have a comment.
So I've been doing a lot of research since I got Alderman Nelson's information. I have a stack of league stuff in front of me, additional items, talked to an attorney today, just regarding social media in general. Social media is typically a two-way page. So if you take all the comments out, that certainly does a lot to quell some of the concerns, but just the things that I have listed, who runs it, who's in charge of it. If one person, let's just say on the council, doesn't like what was put up or doesn't support what was put up, or there's viewpoints or biases, how will the city then handle it? First Amendment standards are unbelievably big right now. Liability, contractual considerations, bullying, harassment, defamation, copyright, trademark, being prepared to defend the community in any way, links to three-party sites. We had fire department actually had one. We talked to the chief today and he's like, yeah, it was nothing but a headache. That's why we got rid of it. So there are other ways to get out one-way directional communications if that's what we want to do. Not to say Facebook is a bad idea, but Facebook is essentially for two-way communication. We also have to worry about data and record retention. Any metadata, anything that's happening in the background is also required to be kept under open records laws. So there are a very large amount of concerns that would have to be dealt with. And again, I guess if it gets to nobody can share, nobody can have comments, it does lessen some of those concerns, but there's still an expectation of immediate or near-term responses on a Facebook page. So that would mean maybe if we had an intern or something like that, it would be, somebody's job to do that. I don't know how else. A lot of cities do have Facebook pages, you're correct. But a lot of them have now shut those down and gone back to perhaps tweeting and doing other things to get out information. So I guess I would just caution the city from a resource standpoint, as well as a liability contractual. We don't have an answer to this today.
Okay, you can make a comment, but then I'm going to blow it up. Not personal to you, but.
Well, hey, how do we now deal with elected officials posting comments and retaining the records of those comments? Because
Do they do it formally in their position, or are they just doing it as themselves? First Amendment rights, we can't stop anybody from doing anything.
well, the mayor posts city information on private Facebook page that I'm blocked on. So that means only some people are allowed to see what he posts about city business. And that's sort of a concern, because if we're going to post about city business, we should have a city page. And I don't know why it's that complicated. I can create a page in probably 10 minutes. The administrators of the page are just the people you put on there. And if you already have the health department who's running that page, I don't know, but you have the health department, why can't those people who are already administrating those pages, why can't they maintain being the administrators? You're not adding anyone. So I think that we may not be prepared for all of those answers and questions tonight, but obviously we have enough cities surrounding us, including Oak Creek, who has a very nice Facebook page that's used. And you don't necessarily have to continue to use it, but it allows a place for elected officials who are posting city business to have the information retained by a page that we control, and the comments can't get deleted. So my motion was to create a city page. I didn't have a deadline. I didn't say it had to be now. I didn't say, we're going to remove anything about social media from the code. This is totally appropriate because it's in the council agenda and it says discussion on creating a page. So we're having a discussion on creating a page. My motion was in support of doing that. If someone would like to suggest a time frame, then we come back with the details on that. I'm certainly open to adding that to my motion.
Sitting in the center chair, the agenda does not provide appropriate notice to the public that a discussion relative to Facebook page production is on the agenda. So therefore, the motion is out of order and not valid. Now, if you guys want to put it on the agenda for another meeting, I'm happy to do that, but
Do we have a motion on the floor? Or did I just suggest that what I
no,
was
you
gonna
had a
do?
motion on the floor. It was seconded by Mr. Second. So you second every motion. Every, just about.
Every motion.
I will-
Just about.
I will,
Let's go. So all night tonight, I was Mr. Second on every single motion there.
No, you said
You're
every,
wrong.
you said
You're
every.
wrong.
this is,
No,
So,
you're wrong.
any-
Please take that back, Mayor.
I never said ever,
Thank you.
every.
Thank you.
Okay, so Alderman Nelson, you still have the floor relative to this agenda item, G9. So
I didn't receive
Carry
my
on.
motion. I have a point of, for a question for the city attorney on procedures on this back. Question for the city attorney. Page 192 in the council packet. We've been having a discussion as stated within the council packet on creating a city page. My motion was to create a city page without details or deadlines or anything. I want to know if my motion is in order, if I put a timeline or something on that I can add. Because right now I just said that we should create it. My motion is to create a city.
to complete the discussion, she's appealing my ruling that the motion to create a web page was not properly noticed on the agenda and therefore out of order. That was my
And
ruling.
my point is it's under section F and it's right in their discussion on creating a page under that. And I'm not saying to change the whole section F or anything. I'm just saying that we should move forward for that because right now we have no way for record retention because we have elected officials posting on private pages that I'm blocked on, so I cannot read or we cannot retain comments. Yes.
What are you referring to under what's a section F?
One
Oh, the
page,
social media?
yeah.
Okay, create a social media page.
Mhm.
Did the city administrator give you her thoughts? My
Mhm.
thoughts concur with hers. And part of my thoughts include recent appellate court decisions with regard to governmental social media pages, which in summary, and keeping it simple, basically have declared essentially the same thing as Reed versus Gilbert circa 2015 sign regulation by governments that you can't regulate the content, and thou shalt not delete posts by anyone,
Mhm.
which can run the gamut into profanity, et cetera, et cetera. So my recommendation would be not to. So there is a motion pending to approve that, and the mayor said technically it's not on the agenda. My thought is, yes, it is within the code of conduct, but with regard to a separate action other than amending the code and creating a new method of communication is definitely should be a separate common council item.
Well, so would a motion be in order if I said the motion would be to have that on item for discussion on a separate meeting? And then,
Let's do that.
and then I have a question. So
Good
we,
Lord, we're gonna be here until 4.
we may be. And then, you, given all that you said that we shouldn't have, and should we be getting rid of the health department and the economic development Facebook pages that already exist and all the other city entities that already have a Facebook page? Because you just said it's, a problem and we shouldn't be doing this, but we do already have city departments that have Facebook pages.
That's
So-
correct. And during the League of Wisconsin Municipalities first session, starting around 1 p.m. last Wednesday, presented by League Assistant Counsel Maria Davis, she cited and quoted all these appellate court decisions, et cetera. And my note was, and I believe I mentioned it to the clerk upon return to work that afternoon, that those department heads should be contacted and informed accordingly, et cetera. And I was not in any way involved or knowing with regard to other departments creating Facebook pages or social media pages, whatever they are.
And they weren't approved by the common council either.
I don't know.
No, they weren't. Okay, so I'll rescind my motion, and I think we should continue the discussion on that. I'll make the motion for it to be a separate item on a upcoming council agenda within the next 2 months.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Both. Okay, Alderman Nelson.
In the essence of time, section 3, I'd like to Alderman Wilhelm, and I'll take section.
Section 3, I think we should delete it because the municipal code in the 2 examples, you have to already say that. So we just go with what the code says. Municipal code says we submit items to the clerk no later than 9 a.m. And if there is a need for a special deficiency or whatever, the council can put it on the agenda or they can call a special meeting. Right. So and you had in here, the intent should be not to supersede current municipal code or limit the legislative body. The 2 council member procedure pertaining to calling a special meeting already exists. And that could be used for unresolved concerns. So it's a duplicate. I would say my motion is delete that section and refer to municipal code 19-2 and 19-1 in its place.
Not sure I know what that motion is, but is there a second?
The motion to
So-
repeat was to delete the current section that requires aldermen to have two people to put something on an agenda and delete that and replace with the notes here on municipal code number 1 and municipal code number 2, 19-2 and 19-1 in the place.
This is in the code of conduct we're talking about? Because as I look at, no, it's entirely possible that I'm very confused.
The current code of conduct forces the alderman to have two aldermen to put something on the agenda if we need a project performed. The current code says that the council members only have to send items to the clerk no later than 9 a.m. So, and then it says under the next one, if the council has a need for a special meeting, you can call it by two alderpersons. So the two alderperson issue and putting items on the agenda are already in the municipal code. And by saying that aldermen have to have two people to put item on the agenda, that restricts the legislative body from bringing anything forward to the council. And I don't think we should be restricting ourselves. If we have something to put on the agenda, that's part of what we do.
Okay, can I now have the floor? Is it okay?
Are you going to debate me? Because you should pass the
I'm
gavel
gonna-
to Sherry Hannon.
I am going to
because
turn,
that's-
I'm going to request that you all turn to page 197, which happens to be section 3 of what we're talking about here. Somebody point out to me where it says anything about anything.
Where it says what?
On the top of page 198. It's in regard to personnel matters.
It says.
So, but what the motion is, and okay, so the question is, you want to delete section 3 as the motion says, or do you want to delete the portion of the paragraph that starts with in
No,
and
my,
ends with clerk?
my motion is to delete section 3, just that paragraph that's in front of you in Alderman Nelson's document. Just that section, and in its place, put note 1 and note 2. That's it. Remove the section that says, should an individual council member see a deficiency, need for a project or a task performed, or have a special request for services, or any other directive from staff, he or she is to communicate in writing, including a specific issue as how we'll resolve it, to the mayor and the director of administration. And if that doesn't solve, you have to have two people to get it on the agenda.
And none of that bothers me. What bothers me is the motion was to delete section 3.
Entire section 3.
No, I wasn't.
But
It's right here, his.
no, Kristen, it's not up for debate. The motion was to delete section 3.
Delete
That's it.
section 3 as stated in the document in front of you.
That's not what you said.
Well, I thought it was pretty.
So the motion is to delete section 3,
What we're talking about.
starting
Yes.
with the paragraph, word should and individual, delete that paragraph.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yep.
That's the motion.
And insert in its place the two codes that already talk about how we get stuff on the agenda.
If you really want to double up on it, that's fine by me, but. Okay. Mr. City Attorney,
Is there not somewhere in the code or one of the adopted policies that the mayor sets the agenda? And hasn't that been around for
No.
a long, long time?
Says-
Ask the city clerk.
See that, you gotta know, this is all because at one time, for one issue, I told Alderman Wilhelm I was not putting an agenda item. That's what this is all
It
about.
is not.
It is so, because I've never denied anyone other than that
Then we
one
don't need it.
occasion.
Then you shouldn't be concerned because
I'm
we
not.
don't need it.
I'm
No,
not,
all
you
right.
guys are the ones that are adding
But
all
you're
of this.
arguing with the
question is
motion
not
as if
answered
you are
again.
Because the
concerned.
motion said delete section 3. That's what I'm arguing about.
Well, if you were paying attention, it was
I
talking
was
about
paying attention. That's
declaring-
why I came up with it.
clarifying a need right up on the top of the page. Delete or amend, right up there. Clarify the need for that section, delete or amend the previous thing. So if you
Make a
if you-
decision. I don't care.
Well, then stop arguing if you don't care.
I do care that the motion is made properly. Madam Director of Administration.
I just want to remind the council why we have section 3. We've been through a lot as far as council members directing staff. And I get what is in notes 1 and 2. That's not a problem. In fact, it probably belongs in the rules, not the code of conduct. But if it's a personnel matter, I just ask you as the personnel director for the city to please be careful on putting items on the council agenda if you see a deficiency with a staff member, because that is not the appropriate place to have that conversation. That's what this section is about. So now that it's about any item on the agenda, it's really being taken out of context. And you know what? If we keep treating our staff that way, we're not going to have staff. So just please be aware.
It's, we totally understand that the purpose is if you have the staff issues where it's being handled, that's spelled out in lots of places.
Okay. So there is no motion on the floor.
There is a
There is an
motion.
inappropriate motion on the floor
Why is my motion appropriate?
because the motion,
My
listen,
motion-
Kristen, listen very carefully. Your motion was to delete section 3.
I amended
That was
it.
what the motion is and seconded. That's what it is.
Delete section 3 as right here, this right here in front of you.
So what
See,
you're telling me,
Clerk, will you
all I
read
want to
back
do
the
is get
motion?
this right. And actually, you're the one that's arguing. So the motion is to delete section 3. And your amendment would be what? To that
No.
motion?
My motion is delete section 3 as listed here, this paragraph only. And insert notes 1 and 2. This
Is that the
isn't
motion that you've
complicated.
recorded?
I have delete.
The more words you put into these things, the more complicated it gets.
So I have delete section 3, which then she amended to say should, the paragraph beginning with should, ending with clerk, which she agreed to clarify, would be deleted and insert in its place notes 1 and 2 as indicated on page 193.
Okay, so who
Seconded
was it?
by Alderman Nelson.
Do you agree to that change, Alderman? Okay, now, on that motion, any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk. We're going to call the roll because
Alderman Nelson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman.
No.
Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Aye.
Alderwoman Eichmann.
Aye.
motion carries 3 ayes, 1 no, 2 absent, no abstentions. Alderman Nelson.
All right, briefly here, going into section 5, elected officials and commission, board, committee members, conduct with other governmental public agencies and offices. The whole gist is that if we're gonna reach out to somebody, using your official title, you're acting, that's, you can state that. It's not to, encumber, it's not to prohibit, it's not to hamstring us, of reaching out and doing our jobs. We are not, it's crystal clear that we are not representing the city as a whole. We are speaking on behalf of these places individually. And then I have a restate that's listed there. If anybody's got a problem with that. Does it need to be read its entirety? That's my restate and that's my motion, but if everybody wants to take a minute to read it, and if they got, I guess, sir, if you want to have them have any discussion on that, but that's my restate.
Second.
Right, it should be no big deal. So we have a motion and a second. You about that?
You're in a meeting?
Madam Director,
We're
Administration,
gonna move around, then people fall asleep or what?
Can we take the vote now?
I would just
Madam
have,
Director, Administration.
I would just have a recommendation. It talks about using their respective city account, email accounts to communicate. I'm not sure what in addition to other methods of communication are.
That was your exact language from the previous one above. In addition to other methods of communication, it's right up above.
It's just a requote.
Recall, it's not even finished.
Get to the next statement, which is as long as records are retained. Who retains those? The city's email accounts are automatically retained,
You
so
can-
that wouldn't be required.
We're all responsible for retaining our own records that we create. If I write a letter to somebody, I'm responsible for retaining it. And if I put it on the city website, it's retained. If I text someone, it's my responsibility to retain the text, right? I mean, we've already been through all of this. So as long as records are retained, I think it's a really good addition to that, Alderman Nelson.
I mean, it's simple. If you don't like that part of it, I guess we could jack it out, but I thought it was pretty straightforward off that. Maybe I misunderstood your other part on top, but that was it.
Yeah, I guess I was just not trying to tie that to record retention. And I think when we talk about record retention, there should just be a clarity on who's retaining. So email accounts, city email accounts retained by the city, other methods of communication retained by the respective party.
Author?
Yep.
Sorry. I'm good with that. That's my motion.
I'm sorry, Peggy, respective, what was the last word?
Authors.
Oh,
Authors work.
Alderwoman Eichmann,
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilhelm,
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman,
Aye.
Alderman Nelson.
Aye.
Motion carries 4 ayes, no nos, 2 absent, no abstentions. Alderman Nelson.
Should be it.
Of course, Alderman Wilhelm.
Order.
Of course.
Can we not do that anymore, please? Thank you. My first one, this comes from an issue that already took place that kind of just dead ended. And so I didn't know what the procedure was. So it's on the top of 196, the very last sentence. So where it talks about if someone is demeaning you or threatening you or making remarks, then the offended official should voice a concern promptly and afford the official the opportunity to either explain the comment or apologize. And then it's the last sentence. If that is not successful, the offended official should call for a point of personal privilege. And then it doesn't say what happens after that. So I am going to insert what happens after that. Comma, right after point of personal privilege. Is everyone with me? Which if ruled upon by the parliamentarian as in order, the parliamentarian, let's see, which if ruled upon the parliamentarian, let's see, I can't read my own handwriting. To remember as in our. And the member shall be granted 5 minutes to address the concern. So if the parliamentarian rules the point of personal privilege is in order, then the member calling the point of privilege shall be granted 5 minutes to address the concern.
there a motion there?
That was the motion.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Come on.
Wait a minute, you want me to speed up? Okay, Madam
Yeah.
Clerk.
Alderman Nelson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman,
No.
Alderwoman Wilhelm,
Aye.
Alderwoman Eichmann.
Aye.
Motion carries, 3 ayes, 1 no, 2 absent, no abstentions. Alderman Wilhelm.
Okay. I'd like to go to page 197, section 3, the first 2 paragraphs. I think they could be cleaned up and more succinct. So I've used much of the same language that was there, but the motion is to delete the first paragraph of section 3, beginning with governance, ending in community. Delete the second paragraph, beginning with the, ending in statutes. Replacing it with the following. Governance of the city relies on cooperative efforts between elected officials and staff. The legislative body passes laws and sets policy, and the mayor shall take care that the city ordinances and state laws are observed and enforced, and that all city officers and employees discharge their duties. Period. It then picks up again with therefore, and everything else remains the same. This is exact language from the state statutes. As far as the mayor, starting from what the mayor shall take care of, though, and that's also on this, I believe it's on the city's website. So I'm just asking to clean that up a little bit.
Seconded by Alderman Nelson. But what that does is it removes the purpose of the stated purpose of the section, which is fine, you can do that. But
Please clarify how it does.
the first paragraph talks about enhancing cooperation between staff and,
That is, I
Elected
left that in
officials.
there.
but it also says that you must show mutual respect and for the contributions of the employees
I
and
left
each
that in
other.
there.
You deleted the whole
I
sentence.
said, therefore, you're correct.
You deleted all of it.
Therefore, every effort should be inserted back in because I have that. Remember when I said therefore stays the same? So I initially deleted both paragraphs. I deleted both paragraphs. Then I gave the new paragraph and then I said the therefore language, you say
Okay.
it's the same.
At the end of your new paragraph?
Yes. So that therefore, that the mayor's concerned with that removing still stays in there and just goes to the new.
Okay,
We get those in writing, just so we get it right.
I read them pretty slow into the records, so you should have them. But I have my scribbled notes here. Okay,
That would be awesome.
okay,
I haven't.
Be great.
the next one is on,
those in favor?
aye.
Opposed?
The next one is on page 198, and this is 3C, the second paragraph. which I believe currently conflicts, my opinion currently conflicts with a section on 11D, page 6. So I have mostly kept the entire thing the same, except I have restated it a little bit. So it would be deleting the current paragraph and replacing it with this language, which if you want to follow along with what's there, then you'll be able to see where I divert and make changes, because I will start off with nothing in this section. That's how I will start off, and that's how it starts off. Nothing in this section shall be construed, comma, however, comma, as prohibiting a council member individually, comma, from discussing city affairs of interest or making suggestions with department heads in or outside of a public meeting. As long as direction is not given and time considerations are respectful. The next part is the "it's also noted," which is there. It is also noted that there may be limited occasions when council or board or commission members need to communicate with staff outside of a public meeting, not related to questions on the agenda. Almost word for word is what's there. But it was important to tweak that because if I didn't tweak that, it wouldn't make sense with the top one.
I gotta tell you, I think it restricts you guys even more, but that's fine. On the motion, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Will.
Wish I had more time to have written these out, so. This is page. This is on page 199, item 4C. Okay, so I want to go to the last sentence, insert a period after the sentence where it says exhibiting behavior or language that the member finds disturbing or out of line, period. Then I want to insert this, and actually the mayor, you did an excellent job on this tonight, because you corrected an incorrect statement, and this is what this addresses. If there are inaccurate statements made by that member and made that the member would like corrected, which is what happened tonight, the member shall be given consideration to state a correction to the chair, but must not engage in any public debate. So in this example, in this would be, not the mayor didn't find an inaccuracy with the speaker, but a council member did. And the council member says to the mayor, "Mayor, I heard an inaccurate statement. I would like to clarify." And then the mayor can give consideration to state the correction as long as no public debate is engaged. No. No, because if you hadn't corrected that person's statement, I was going to ask you to correct, because I knew that what they were saying wasn't correct. Okay. All right. Same page, 199, item D, following parliamentary procedures and conducting meetings. The city attorney serves as the advisory parliamentary for the city and is available to answer questions or interpret situations according to parliamentary procedures. Here's my change. Final ruling on parliamentary procedure during meetings when the city attorney is present shall be made by the city attorney. In the absence of the city attorney, the chair shall rule. And that covers all boards and commissions because the mayors and the city attorney don't sit on those boards, and there aren't often parliamentary people on those, so it gives the chair that ability. Yes.
Thought is that the chair presiding officer presides when it pertains to running the meeting, et cetera, which is where that fits into it. I don't advise deferring authority for decision-making from staff person. Trying to envision a United States Senate or Assembly. Somebody makes a point of order or whatever, but some parliamentary staff person is gonna make a decision versus simply advise presiding officer or the entirety of the body.
I'll amend my motion. I'll amend it to read final ruling on parliamentary procedure shall be in with consideration from input from the city attorney, subject to appeal of the council. It just allows him to give his opinion on the ruling before we.
So.
All right.
Test. Second motion.
Okay,
All right. Second. Hearing no second.
okay. On page 201, item D, the mayor's role in representing the city. The mayor is charged with representing the city, speaking on its behalf and communicating with the council regarding these matters when appropriate. When unavailable, authority is authorized to the council president. That is the only insertion. When the mayor is unavailable, the authority is authorized to the council president.
You guys are pretty quick, but that's already in code. So it's superfluous to put it here. I don't care, but it's
It
more
just
words.
Clarifies. Clarification.
Superfluous.
We're all about clarification.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Page 201, section 6A. Council members may attend any City of Franklin Commission Board Committee meeting which is open to the public. I am great with that. And that is actually what state statute says. And then the state statute says, unless the council makes another rule. So because that statement is in there and it's very clear, I will make the motion to remove D, where we have to in advance tell some unelected board and committee chairman that we're coming into a closed session meeting. Here's a perfect example. Board of Water meets during licensing. The license, if if I finish the meeting early, I can just walk through the door. But according to this, you want this in advance, and it does, and I agree. It doesn't say you have to, though it says shall inform. Shall is pretty strong. And I like to stick with the state statutes that council members may attend any City of Franklin Board of Commission meetings. That's exactly what's stated in the Wisconsin statute. So I'm striking D.
Alderman Nelson.
I understand what the Alderwoman is saying, but there's also a portion in here that says session whenever possible. So you're not obligated. So if you wanted to leave licensing and walk over there, there's nothing prohibiting you.
Then it's not needed, so scratch it. It's not needed. I mean, if it's nothing prohibiting you, then why are you going to make an elected official? You know, first of all, you better start giving us all the board and commission's phone numbers, because I don't even know who half the people on the chairs of these committees are. So it makes it really difficult to do. And it's not necessary. Statutes say you can't keep council members out unless you put something like this in there. That's what the statute says. You can't keep council members out.
But in this debate we're having, isn't it true, attorneys love that term, that we don't need to? I mean, it says we would like to give, but we don't have to. We can still go from this one, and
And we
is
still.
that right,
and we
Mr.
still-
City Attorney?
What's the?
Statutory board issue, where I don't know that that's automatic privilege.
This gets very tiring after a while. Read the first 3 words of that paragraph. That's all it's about. So anyway. So the requested motion is to delete the section. There's a second to that motion. There's a second to the motion to delete. Seeing no second, motion dies due to lack of second. Alderman Wilhelm.
Okay. The next one is page 202, section 7, communicating with the media. I would like to soften when communicating with the media, all council, board, commission members, actually the mayor does all the communication really with the media, and that's said somewhere else, so I don't know when we would be communicating with the media. But all board commission members, it says, must clearly state that their comments are the official position of themselves alone. I have never seen an elected official have to do that. So instead of clearly state, I'd like to say must be clear that their comments are the official position of themselves. So clearly state is must be clear.
Is there a second to that? You were on a roll for a while. So why change it? Anyway. Okay, on the motion, all those in favor signify by saying aye, and I'm
Aye.
not sure we're clear about it, but let's try it again. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Same page 202, item B, discussion regarding city staff. It says common council members shall not discuss personal issues or any matters regarding individual city staff in public or with the media. Any issues pertaining to city staff shall only be addressed directly to the mayor and the director of administration. And I'm inserting or through the complaint process, because that's actually already in here. That's how we do it. So let's just clarify that.
Other people other than the parties you may be complaining about are party to the complaint system. That would be inappropriate.
I didn't understand that.
There are other people that see complaints that may not be party to the complaint or the complaint or the party being complained about. Not appropriate. And I don't know why you'd want to do that anyway.
Well, the complaint process is what people are supposed to use. All I'm saying is any issue pertaining to city staff shall be addressed directly to the mayor and direct administration. That's, and adding or through the city complaint process. What, I don't understand. Maybe you didn't state it correctly for me to understand what your concern was. Would you restate your
My
concern?
concern is that an employee matter is an employee matter is an employee matter is an employee matter. I don't know how to be any more clear than that. It belongs between the immediate supervisor and or me and the employee, no one else. How would you like a complaint filed against you through a relatively public system and have that information out there and discoverable without you having a chance to even know what's going on?
This doesn't say that. It doesn't say that anybody, it says council.
You say, put it through the complaint system. I say, no way. It's a private matter between the supervisor and the employee.
I'd like to hear the city clerk's comment.
I just am thinking possibly you're referring to the complaint public policy that, or public system where people can go online and file a complaint. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe you're referring to the complaint system in this document. So
Yes.
you're talking about two different complaint systems. And I guess I opened a can of worms.
All right,
But
I'm
I
gonna
think you're
do
talking about
director
two
of
different
administration,
things.
then city attorney. But this is bad.
The complaint process included in this is for issues to do with the code of conduct. They're not due to personnel matters. I hate to be repetitive, but personnel matters are not to be discussed in a public forum or through this process. They're to go through the personnel process, unless if the council wants to change that.
And the complaint process is with regard to board, commission, committee members, and public officials, which far and away from the vast majority of employees.
So if you have, under the current system, if there is a complaint on a staff member, you have this policy and it shall only be directed to the mayor and the director of administration. If it's not resolved, are you saying that the council has no authority to take that up? Because in the previous thing, we did say we could do that, but you're saying they can do it if it's unresolved under the previous paragraph, but they can't do it through the complaint procedure process. They only can do it by bringing it to the council. I would rather think that this is more, if you had a complaint and went through the complaint procedure, it would go to the mayor and the director of administration. It would be more confidential. Right now, if an unresolved issue, according to your own document, if there's an unresolved issue and we take it to you and we don't like it, we can put it on the council agenda. I'm saying right now, if it's an unresolved issue, it shall be addressed by the mayor and director of administration or through the more confidential complaint process. It's more protective, not less. Yeah, I think you're misunderstanding that.
No, no.
Yes, it is. It's more, the complaint process is supposed to be anonymous. The council agenda is not anonymous.
It does not. Is there a second to this? There better not be.
Shall we go?
Your question, you want to say something? Is there a second to this motion? Is there a second? Hearing no second, motion dies due to lack of second. Alderman Lowe.
Well, I guess I would like some clarification on what the other paragraph said where we could bring it through if it was unresolved. If it was unresolved, you're saying it's still okay for it to bring a city personnel issue to the council, because that's how it reads.
Where is that?
It's deleted.
Well, it's reworded. Paige, can you help me out with that?
I'm it's in section 3 on the top of the second page of section 3. I believe 198.
Did you find it, Paige?
198.
Okay.
So outline for me, under what circumstances would, I'll do it this way, would the Director of Administration allow me and anyone else to not resolve a human resources issue? Under what circumstances?
I don't know, but
I think there's an example. We had it last year. There was a formal complaint filed. That's when it would go to council.
And
Other
it
than
did
that
not go
person-
Unresolved.
Correct. But as far as staff goes, that should be done. As the city attorney said, 98% of our staff is not included under the complaint process. So it would basically be going after some department heads.
Well,
so do you?
the reality is it died because.
Yeah, it did. It did. So let's move on. Okay. Then this whole ethics section here, this whole section 8 enforcement of this code of conduct opens up a thing for multiple complaints, but that's something you like and I can't deal with. So. 203 timing for filing. I'd like to scratch out that a complaint must be filed no later than 60 days from the date of discovery. So we'll just delete the first sentence, because Facebook can be forever and it's out there. So it would just say, anyone having information on which a complaint is based is encouraged to file a complaint as soon as the information is obtained so that immediate action can be taken. All it does is take out that first part.
And all I'll say is, be careful what you ask for. Alderman Henneman.
Well, and that's my question. Is there any statute of limitations on this? I mean, because you could complain about things long before social media became a thing. And yeah, I think there has to be some level of, if someone has a valid complaint, there has to be some level of get your complaint in and get it investigated. Don't decide 10 years later, oh, I think someone did something that was unethical, and now we're going to try to file a complaint on it.
Well, I think that's sort of covered. May I respond to that? I believe that's sort of covered in the fact that they have to determine it's a valid complaint. So that process would help. They could just say, well, we don't believe it's valid because we believe, and that it's outside of a time frame. I mean, that can be part of the decision-making process.
Okay. I don't know how many of you have been through an election here in the city of Franklin, but I can guarantee you that if the 60 days goes away, starting roughly February 10th through April, whatever the first Tuesday of month is, there'll be a slew of ethics complaints based on what you did 2.5 years ago.
Just to show one of them.
And it has nothing to do whether it's valid or not. And it's got everything to do with the flyer that comes out that says ethics charges against Alderman Nelson filed Tuesday.
Fictitious
Um, Madam Director of Administration.
So there's a couple of reasons the 60-day is, first of all, when you're doing any kind of investigation, the longer we get away from the infraction, the harder it is to recall facts and just do the discovery. So there should be a time frame. There is also a statement after that says, however, anyone having information on which a complaint is based is encouraged to file as soon as it is obtained. So there still is an option for that, but not having that 60-day thing enters in this little word called retaliation, which is a lot of what you're saying. And to tell you the truth, liability on the city, open liability, if this is something about the city and then someone says, oh, it happened 2 years ago and you knew and you knew and you knew, I can't even imagine how that would look. 60 days is a reasonable
think you
amount of
made a-
time.
The good statement about, trying to justify that. So I'm okay with that. We didn't get a second on it anyway, did we? I mean, Peggy made some good points on that. So, yes, I withdraw the motion. 203, false or frivolous complaints, which kind of takes care of the issue above where the mayor says everybody's going to come in, because if you're going to be held to perjury or, whatever, I don't think that's going to kind of help some people from doing that. But a person only makes a false or misleading or unsubstantiated statement in a complaint is subject to criminal prosecution. I want to know about as determined by. A person who only makes a false, misleading, or unsubstantiated statement as determined by. Who determines that it's a false, misleading, substantial statement?
Mr. City.
District attorney.
Okay, let's put in there as determined by the district attorney then.
Well, anybody can determine it because it doesn't, it could be, if you make a false statement against me, I get to determine that, not the district attorney, because I'm the one who's going to sue you. So why would we limit that?
That's correct.
It's anybody, not just the district attorney, even though they're going to make the ruling on it. Everybody else just, so a criminal prosecution has to have a judgment, and that judgment is decided by somebody, but that's the criminal justice system. I can't imagine that you would need that. This is just fair warning. Hey, everybody, don't make those statements, because if you do, you could subject yourselves to this.
Right. But you don't think we need as a term? I know I hadn't made a motion on this. I was just reading it. So
Yeah.
you don't think we need to have as determined by anybody? You don't think that's
Right,
necessary?
because at the end of that paragraph, it then talks about the chief of police or the district attorneys, it talks about all those
Okay,
parts of the
All right.
justice system that would handle it.
all right, we will.
The city wouldn't, I think, is
Mhm.
what you were trying to get away from.
Okay. That, yes, exactly, Peggy, thank you. Okay. Let's see. What we have here. Eight.
Two more pages.
Oh, no, we finished that one. I'm on the rules of the common council now. Just the next document. Okay, so under rules of the common council, I had H circled on 208. Not sure what that was. H, motions to table shall include a date or time frame for action. So my question is, what is a motion to table indefinitely? Is that a time frame? Because
Because it doesn't come back.
Well, I know it doesn't come back, but it says motions to table shall include a date or time frame. So basically saying you need to say May 2nd. Or you need to say, so that actually removes parliamentary procedure to have postponing indefinitely.
Okay, motion to change the word shall to should.
Okay,
Jesus, Moses.
we're on the page 208 on the rules. Yes. Yes. So the motion is changed the word shall to should.
There's a second to that motion. I'm going to remind everybody again, you don't need to second every motion. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, page 211, number 11. Rules pertaining to the timing submissions for council agendas. Under A, the last paragraph. Should a requested agenda item not be placed on the agenda as submitted, it shall be automatically placed on the next scheduled agenda unless withdrawn by the submitter. The council action sheet for that item shall contain a statement by the mayor as to the reason for the delay. How much authority does that give you, Mayor, to keep items off? You're saying you don't hardly ever do that, right?
No, I didn't say that. I said I've only done it once in the history of my tenure here as mayor.
Okay. All right, I won't suggest any change. So I think that was it, except for now, in order to prevent like this whole like cat and mouse thing about, okay, now these changes came in and other changes came in, I'm going to make a motion that no amendments shall come before the council until a new member is sworn into office. As part of the council action.
Okay, who wants to give up their rights? Is there a second to that motion? Is there a second to that motion?
Second for discussion, can we do that, at least discuss it?
There is no such thing in parliamentary procedure.
Second.
Discussion. Alderman Nelson, since you seconded it for discussion, what's your discussion?
Like to yield to the city attorney?
The city attorney.
What if there's a federal or state or municipal code law change that affects the content of the code or rules?
Okay, so I'll amend it to say unless there is legal reason.
What if there's some other reason that it has to be amended?
What if there's a complaint and the city has to address that complaint, much like an open record law change or ruling, and all of a sudden we have to change it and we say, oh, sorry, we can't fix that because we have a council rule.
On the motion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Madam Clerk.
So we will have the cat and
Alderwoman
mouse.
Eichmann,
No.
Alderwoman Wilhelm,
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman,
No.
Alderman Nelson.
No.
Motion fails. 1 aye, 3 noes, 2 absent, no abstentions. Still have the floor, Alderman.
Well, there is a resolution here, and the motion suggestion says Motion to adopt a resolution affirming the amendments that we just made to the City of Franklin Code of Conduct and Ethics and Rules of the Common Councils as presented. And to distribute the new rules to everybody that you're supposed to distribute. I don't need to as distribute, so knowing that we should distribute the new rules, because I'll just say as presented, but we should distribute the new. rules.
So can I ask a question on that? Do you want it to go around to all of the committees, boards, commissions, appointeds, electeds? Probably close to, I don't know, 75, 100 people.
Or you can just send them that there was a resolution adopting. Where do you post this? Is this thing up on the city website? So you can just say referenced here.
Or if it's on the city website. or just-
Well, maybe that would be the way to do it.
Madam Clerk, then the city attorney.
So when a new member is sworn in,
Yeah.
they are mailed a financial disclosure, they are mailed a set of this. It includes a letter from me. It includes a letter from Director of Administration Stino. And the new board member is asked to sign and return it. If you're going to make amendments, and I believe I have about 18 of them, maybe 17, because some did not pass. You're going to make changes to a document and we're just going to mail them, but yet if they're important enough to make a change, you're not going to have them acknowledge that they've received the change. I guess I'd like clarification if we're going to be expected to mail out something to every board or commission member and
How was it
employee.
distributed before?
Emailed, mailed, little bit of,
Handouts at committee
yeah.
meetings.
So can you just make every commission member, I mean, that we made a motion? Change? I mean, this council makes changes and resolutions all the time and we don't tell everybody in the world that it's out there. I mean, we have the right as a legislative body to make changes.
You also have the
But-
right to
but-
be courteous to the boards and commission members and let them know what the rules changes are that they have to operate
I
under.
understand.
Especially since they were asked to sign.
That's correct.
That's why I
document to
asked
begin
for
with.
distributing, but I didn't add it into my motion. I said we should find a method to distribute it. I didn't say not to be courteous and not to give it to anyone. That wasn't what I was insinuating.
Mr. City Attorney.
I just want,
With regard to record accuracy, I suggest that if there's a motion to adopt the draft resolution in the Common Council meeting agenda packet, that it include a provision stating that the code and rules by title as amended pursuant to this resolution are annexed here too. So
Okay.
then everybody knows what the code states. And for simplicity, perhaps there's a red line with deletions and additions included. There's a clear record forever. Here's what it was, here's what it is. Here's a clean copy of code.
I wouldn't do that. It's next. Into the resolution. Well, how else are you gonna, we passed them all by motion and now we have a resolution that says we actually did it. So what's, I mean, you were gonna pass a previous one saying we don't do it. This is the. Do we have a second to my motion? My motion is to adopt the resolution affirming amendments to the City Code of Conduct and Ethics and Rules of the Common Council as presented, inserting the language as annexed here too.
I was just gonna put Alderman Nelson.
This is your resolution that you
There's
put
no
in.
second.
There is no second.
I just made a motion to adopt your resolution.
So one by one, so.
Okay, moved and seconded. Mr. City Attorney. Doubling up.
Well, the initial code was adopted by resolution, was it?
And this is amends the resolution.
If that was the original process, I would continue the process.
Yeah.
So
I'm
I
not
know you
sure-
said the changes were annexed here too, but if this is replacing that original ordinance, should it be referenced? The original resolution, like, don't we have to end that resolution before this one takes place?
Well, no, this one says,
I'll let the city.
And any other technical changes as determined by the Director of Administration. City.
So my suggestion is can't even do my suggestion. On the motion. All those in favor
but
signify by
wait,
saying
we didn't
aye.
include, I did not include the city attorney's thing, so I want to say, and technical corrections by the director of administration and the city attorney to the resolution.
On the motion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks for the more work. G10, page 215. Now probably superfluous.
I'll make the motion to postpone indefinitely.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. G11, page 219 is intern approval and authorization policy.
Mayor,
Alderwoman Wilhelm. I don't even turn it off anymore.
I don't have a problem with an intern. I do not agree that the mayor gets full hiring authority without bringing it to the council. So I will make the motion to approve the intern policy with changes by the city attorney that allows council approval of all paid or unpaid interns.
Then I'm guessing it's just a motion to deny because that's the way the policy is today.
What do you mean?
So the policy today is that council approves the agreements. It was at the last council meeting. And that's when the mayor requested, and then Alderman Barber sent it to personnel. And then they had the conversation, made the recommendation was so that this could happen. But if this, then I think your motion is just to deny.
Yes, I disagree that the council, especially with paid, we're the person. And we're gonna just allow the mayor to just hire whoever he wants? Huh? This is just for the interns. I don't, free nilly to just hire any intern we want, paid or unpaid, without council approval?
You have approved the budget. This is within the personnel budget. You know, yeah, you can approve
This is a bad
purchase orders
idea.
for toilet paper if you want. But that's not how it works. But okay, so the motion is to deny. Is there a second? Is there a second in the motion to deny? Seeing no second, motion fails. Is there another action item on this particular item? Hanneman and Nelson move to approve. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No,
Madam Clerk.
Alderman Nelson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman,
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilhelm.
No.
Alderwoman Eichmann.
Aye.
Motion carries 3 ayes, 1 no, 2 absent, no abstentions. Move on to G12, review of the Director of Clerk Services position, Madam Director of Administration.
So there was a job description and a salary comparison at your places tonight. Those,
Wait, sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, people in the public, after 37 years, our clerk has decided that she wants to be closer to the city attorney and make sure that he's working constantly. And she wants to be available to cut the grass and do all of those things for 37 years. She hasn't had an opportunity to do, and she is going to retire so that she can be with her husband sometimes. And I've regretfully accepted her retirement, but we'll have more to say about this in the future. She has chosen to keep the city in mind and stay with us for a period of time. And that's what we've been negotiating all evening. So,
And it's
Madam,
moving closer and closer.
it's like tomorrow now. Madam Director of Administration. But what
Mayor,
we're about to discuss is typical for the way we react to all department head changes. So, Madam Director.
so we did do the process as we normally do, but basically I'm looking for 2 things from the council tonight. One of them would just be a very simple job description change that was approved by the Personnel Committee last night, in that the job description is just of an age that it's older than the class and comp study. So the
At your
wrong.
places.
What was that? Oh, it's at their places, right? So it just says an old salary level from an old salary scale. It really should say grade 11 of the current scale. So we'd like to make that change to the job description. We'd like council's approval on that. And then we'd also appeal to the council to approve, if possible, early hiring. So we would go to market on this as soon as possible, try to see if we can get some overlap and some transition just due to the critical nature of the position. So those would be the 2 asks of the council tonight.
what was the last one?
To hire early before retirement if possible.
Training purposes.
So, is this the same one? Because it says 2006. So it's everything that the clerk has currently been running under, other than you want the grade thing and then you want that.
Correct.
Okay. And, well, it would have been nice to have this ahead of time to read it. I never read this before.
I apologize. I was doing this from a hospital room last week and all I could do was get the agenda item on. So
How,
And the only change we're asking for is the salary level notification on the top of the page. That's all we're.
Do you need a motion on that?
yes.
So
please.
moved.
Second.
On the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
And let's be clear, that's to allow early hiring and to change the job description 1 item.
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll get this posted late by the end of the week.
For sure.
Okay. H, miscellaneous licenses, Alderwoman Hannah.
I'll take those. And the committee approves on page 1, or recommends approval of Federation of Croatian Societies Croatian Fest. Point after LLC is approval contingent upon completed inspections. Kenneth Burks, new and renewal, hold for appearance. Sean Chisholm, new and renewal is approved. Adriana Murillo, new and renewal is hold for appearance. Churchill is approved. On page 2, we recommend approval of all the way down to Gonzalez, new and renew. Though those 2 are hold until December or such time prior to that, if notice and proof that the case has been completed.
Notice proof to the clerk.
Yes, to the clerk that has been completed. And page 3, all are approvals.
For a second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Wilhelm. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Move on to item I, vouchers. Is there a motion approving city vouchers with an ending date of June 16, 2022, amount of $2,428,759.15, and payroll dated June 17, 2022, the amount of $427,772.10, and payments to bills payroll deductions, the amount of $436,983.24, plus city matching payments, and estimated payroll for July 1st, estimated at $417,000, and payroll for the come on. And payments of the various payroll deductions in the amount of $250,000 estimate, plus city matching payments and property tax disbursements with an ending date of June 16th in the amount of $1,273,592.46. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Alderwoman Eichmann.
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman.
Aye.
Alderman Nelson.
Hi.
Motion carries, 4 ayes, no nos, 2 absent, no abstentions. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So,
Nelson, Wilhelm, all those in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.
I know.